Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a track from an act named Tank or Tank from Korea titled Rumors. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a music video on YouTube, so we're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Lo-fi synths. Really slick bass response as well, nice.
I heard some things about you. I'll only believe the truth. You're different. I wanna go the distance. I'm addicted. I ain't tripping. I won't listen to the rumors.
Commercial grade studio production. I mean, like, it's just stunning off the bat, the first 50 seconds, with that instrumental motif there, with the synths, the keys, the bass there, come in one by one, slowly infiltrating the frequency spectrum and stereo field, with the vocals having a great presence in the mix, and not just being in the center, you also have these overdubs and sort of shouted parts of the hook line of the track. It's really easy to tell what the track is about, simple message, and yeah, just shows the quality and effort put in. Slick portamento on the 808s.
But I say it's wrong, true, woman, they do. I'm a gentleman, battleman, damn, bad thing. Nigga, Patrick American, wanna be tempting. 전부 꺼지라고 해, 내가 늘 가진다고 해. 그러니 빠지라고 해, 우리 둘 사이에서, baby.
I heard some things about you.
It's great type of variation in the vocal styles.
You're different. I wanna go the distance. I'm addicted. I ain't tripping. I won't listen to the rumors.
It's like split in two. You have the main melodic sort of solo part, the rumors, and the rumors swirling around the head in the second half there, with a change up to the way the bass is portrayed as being a little bit sort of more staccato-ish and perky. Little twinkles on top there for a bit of high-end essence.
I might treat you with the type of ceramic stick. Drama to the drama, 화려하지만 drama to the drama처럼 기억되지 들어와 좀 더 들어와 솔직하게 말하게 되고 좋아하게 돼 있어 아무것도 모르는 척하지만 제발 그런 애들에게는 정말 정이 떨어지게 돼 사랑하는 척도 하지만 제발 나는 진짜로 거짓말을 하는 애와 멀어지려 해 나와 함께하는 밤엔 그냥 입을 닫고 있어 어차피 난 누구든지 벌어지게 해 기억 속에 남은 사수와 다른 애들 따윈 순간에 나로 인해 사라지게 해 yeah.
I mean, it's just the effort put into the variety of different phrasings and the rhythms, the bars, stanzas there. Even though I can't understand the language, you know, I can't understand Korean, it's still, I can still enjoy listening to the way that we roll with the main four rhythms there and the confidence and seamless expression.
I heard some things about you.
A little bit of vocal modulation on those, but I think they work well here. A little bit of sparkle to it.
Go the distance. I'm addicted. I ain't tripping. I won't listen to the rumors. I won't listen to the
I mean, the video is commercial grade as well, don't get me wrong. I'm just not as knowledgeable on video production as I am about, about sort of audio stuff. I mean, I think it's tremendous. There's clearly a big team involved. I think it's really important when you're trying to establish yourself as a musician and to kind of continue moving forward in an upwards trajectory to find the right people or specialists to sort of enable you. And this is something that took me a really long time to learn for myself personally. So it makes me really glad that, musicians like Tank are just getting all their ducks in a row. There is no weak points to this. I'm stoked with the majority of it, but all of it as far as I'm aware, but we'll talk about that more in the conclusion. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an artist named Tank titled Rumors. The song, I think it's about, if I was to try and sort of connect it, so I got my cat wanting attention right in the middle of doing a conclusion for a review, and I don't know if she really is wanting to be on camera, but she is now. Put her on camera whenever she decides to go and kind of want attention during a review. But I think this song is about someone, like if I was to take what I had in the video and apply it to the music and the vocals and stuff like that, wondering if the woman in the video was like, it's about the rumors between her and the other woman or something like that, the things they'd heard about each other, and trying to sort of like avoid getting too sort of drawn up into those. As more of a case of trying to sort of take the person at face value and accepting them for who they are and not allowing yourself to get blindsided, distracted, or manipulated. Because rumors can be problematic, I think the vocals from Tank are wonderful. We've got someone who can clearly express themselves in a way that is polished and really believable. It seemed authentic. It seemed like they played a clear sort of control and technique vocally of the hidden chest voice. We didn't have a lot. We either talked or we sang or we rapped, because the rapped parts were tight as well. We were really sort of clear with our pronunciation of the words there. There was varying rhythmic flow throughout the progressions there. The overdubs we had with the kind of shouted parts as well, or the chanted parts as well as the sort of talky parts there, they contrasted with each other in ways where whether they were together or apart, they still made sense. And ultimately, I think that it was nice to have a more sort of straightforward, down-to-earth approach with the rapping verse parts to sort of be a contrast or a foil to the more sort of softer, more intimate parts in English as well. Because a lot of the verses, I think, were in Korean and the choruses were in English. And I think that was also maybe to sort of open this music up to people who don't necessarily speak Korean. And I know that there's I've heard Korean artists use, English in songs before, but it's nice to have a dedicated hook here to kind of really sort of be let in a little bit and sort of figure it all out and understand what's going on. And then if you understand the language natively, you get the little Easter egg of knowing the main context of it. I think the singing and rapping and all that was done incredibly well, and I understand how it makes sense with the lyrics. The track itself at 3:41 is nicely fleshed out. I'm always a little bit unsure when you've got sort of one main motif carried throughout, because you really need, in my opinion, to adjust the amount of instruments you have or the ways they're expressed in different ways in order to keep the track interesting throughout. We had typically had verses and we had choruses, A-B kind of structure. There were some instrumental breaks occasionally, we had parts without vocals, for example, like in the intro there, where we had sort of the synths and bass coming in by themselves. But I think what made this song work was that we had the vocals doing different things in different parts, and we added different vocal takes on top of that. But it was also the fact that the themes behind the different sung and rapped parts also sounded tremendous and had a nice sense of fluidity, and the transitions were practically seamless. If I talk about a few of my favorite instruments within the song, I think the 808s were wonderful there. I liked how smooth they were in the low end. They had a fantastic portamento within them, which meant the movement between notes were great. And you also had a little bit of sort of, they had a little bit of a oomph to them when they were the shorter bits in the second half of the chorus, but not too much to overpower the mix. So I thought that was really well handled. The synths that we had, the kind of lo-fi aesthetic with a bit of filtering and stuff like that, and the kind of wishy-washy, almost sort of vaporwave-ish kind of thing, it sounded slick. I really liked the softness and the exquisite nature, how beautiful and pretty they were, to illustrate the kind of wonderment and magic of the potential if they could get past the rumors. I think that the progressions that we had there were they were extended chords, I think, so you had a bit of emotional complexity to those as well, which I think makes sense given the subject matter. But they made them in a way where even if you were a little bit allergic to that kind of tonal complexity, it's nonetheless palatable because of how they're implemented. The drums that we had there, they were mostly a way of moving things forward. They weren't an all the time thing. They were nice and tight and had a great attack to them, but they didn't cut too much. And they complemented and gave a sense of movement to a piece that had a lot of legato-ish phrasing within its longer form elements. I thought that was a smart idea to contrast like that. And, and the drums sounded dope. Just like the actual tones of them sounded slick. I like the samples used. And again, finally, I think there were some keys occasionally where they kind of sparkled in the upper register there. They were nice and sort of starry and added a sense of wonderment to the piece. It was nice to have the low end handled with the bass and the mid-range with like those synth pads and stuff like that, and with the vocals in different parts. But to have a bit of twinkle occasionally at the high end to make things sparkle just fleshed out the frequency spectrum, made it sound really special. It added a nice little bit of sleekness and sophistication to a piece that was already pretty up there. It suited the R&B aesthetic. The motif there, it kind of sounded down to earth, low key, like we were trying to have a genuine discussion about this. We weren't trying to sort of pump it up and overdo things. I think in a way that was really intelligent. But the subject matter, I'm not sure what the verses were about, but I think we were just trying to sort of connect with the person we were talking to and have like a kind of a nighttime conversation with them. So with there being the twinkles and everything like that, and the instruments, as well as a slower kind of beat there, a smoother kind of bass, again, a softer bass that doesn't necessarily kind of punch at you. I think the choice of instruments combined with the chord progressions there that didn't really sort of have too much of an edge to them, they were smart choices, and in connection and relation, and ultimately the theme worked. It was repeated throughout, but because of the way things were adjusted throughout, it worked and what made sense for the 4 minutes, and I don't think there was a note out of place. And then finally, the studio recording, mixing and mastering was wonderful. I'm really happy with the way the vocals were presented in their various forms. They sounded nice and clean. We occasionally had some sort of meta tuning or something like that. We had some, but that was it was not to fix the vocals, because clearly Tank could sing. It was more just to make them stand out a little bit more against some of the more sort of neutral aesthetics. And I think that, you need the vocals to be present. And we had sort of spoken parts again, and parts on the sides with the rumors part, which again, they stood out because of the space placement in the stereo field. There was lots of attention paid to get this sounding. They made the most of the capacity that they had within this piece in regards to the post-production. And when you combine it with the quality and the placement of the basses, the synths, keys, etc., the drums in the stereo field and frequency spectrum, with a nice and wide in the stereo field, and there being no resonant frequencies, things being nicely niched, you had a track which had an adequate amount of dynamic range, and it was nice and loud without pumping, so the bus compression limiting was handled. And ultimately, this track, made me feel. This track is really impressive. It's a great first impression to Tank stuff. I can understand why they've found success on platforms that they've been involved in, stuff like that. Like, I think one of their songs had 11 million plays or something like that on YouTube or something like that. Yeah, it was this track, 159 centimeters, that got 11 mil plays on YouTube. So they're not sort of a stranger to success. It's just, I think we've continued that. So thank you very much for watching this review of this track from Tank titled Rumors, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show us some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page. Stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.